Or the Israelites again did evil in the Lord's sight. After Ehud's death, the Lord turned them over to King Jabin of Canaan, who ruled at Hazor. The king and his army were Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. The Israelites cried out for help to the Lord because Sisera had 900 chariots with iron-rimmed wheels, and he cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. Now, Deborah, a prophetess, wife of Lapidoth, was leading Israel at the time. She would sit under the date palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the Ephraimite hill country. The Israelites would come up to her to have their dispute settled. She summoned Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kadesh in Naphtali. He said to her, "Is it not true that the Lord God of Israel is commanding you? Go march to Mount Tabor. Take with you 10,000 men from Naphtali and Zebulun. I will bring Sisera, the general of Jabin's army, to you at the Kishon River, along with his chariots and huge army. I will hand him over to you." Barak said to her, if you go with me, I will go. But if you do not go with me, I will not go. She said, "I will indeed go with you, but you will not gain fame on the expedition you are undertaking, for the Lord will turn Sisera over to a woman." Deborah got up and went with Barak to Kadesh. Barak summoned men from Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and 10,000 men followed him. Deborah went up with him as well. Now Heber the Kenite had moved away from the Kenites, the descendants of Hobab, Moses' father-in-law. He lived near the great tree in Zananim, near Kadesh. When Sisera heard that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, he ordered all his chariotry, 900 chariots with iron-rimmed wheels, and all the troops he had with him to go from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Kishon River. Deborah said to Barak, "Spring into action, for this is the day the Lord is handing Sisera over to you. Has the Lord not taken the lead?" So Barak went down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. The Lord routed Sisera, all his chariotry, and all his army with the edge of the sword. Sisera jumped out of his chariot and ran away on foot. Now Barak chased the chariots and the army all the way to Harosheth Hagoyim. Sisera's whole army died by the edge of the sword. Not even one survived. Now Sisera ran away on foot to the tent of Jael, wife of Heber the Kenite, for King Jabin of Hazor and the family of Heber the Kenite had made a peace treaty. Jael came out to welcome Sisera. She said to him, "Stop and rest, my lord. Stop and rest with me. Don't be afraid." So Sisera stopped to rest in her tent, and she put a blanket over him. He said to her, "Give me a little water to drink because I'm thirsty." She opened a goatskin container of milk and gave him some milk to drink. Then she covered him up again. He said to her, "Stand watch at the door of the tent. If anyone comes along and asks you, is there a man in here? Say no." Then Jael, wife of Heber, took a tent peg in one hand and a hammer in the other. She crept up on him, drove the tent peg through his temple into the ground while he was asleep from exhaustion, and he died. Now Barak was chasing Sisera. Jael went out to welcome him. She said to him, "Come here, and I will show you the man you are searching for." He went with her into the tent, and there he was, Sisera sprawled out dead with a tent peg through his temple. That day, God humiliated King Jabin of Canaan before the Israelites. Israel's power continued to overwhelm King Jabin of Canaan until they did away with him. Bum, bum, bum. Jim Bam, if you remember right, he started watching one time and a few minutes. It told your streak was maintained, but you didn't watch all. Okay, so it gives you a thing that tells you your streak is. That's pretty cool. Okay, this is a pretty well-known story. We have the story of Deborah. One of the things that people want to do is say Deborah is an exception, so we can't make anything relative about women being in leadership from this example. There's nothing in this story that says she's an exception. There is nothing in the story that says this. Okay, so we have Ehud dies, and now we have Sisera, the king of Hasereth Hoigayim. What does it say on the footnote? Is going to tell us the meaning there. Hasereth of the pagan nation. Okay. Hasereth may mean forest. So the forest of the pagan nations, the Black Forest. He has 900 chariots, and he oppressed for 20 years. So each time the oppression has gotten larger, 8, 18, now 20. Deborah, a prophetess. A woman, a prophetess, the Hebrew idiom for the generic woman, sometimes precedes a more specific designation. And she is wife of Lapidoth. Now, Deborah means bee. Deborah means bee. That's one of those names I remember. I don't remember what her husband means. So let's go Judges 4. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I could just click next. That'll work. Lapidoth. Is there something hidden in his name? I do not remember.
Strong's H3941. Lapidoth. Lapidoth.
So it's Torches. Her husband's name is Torches. Okay. She was leading Israel at the time. So they're going to translate leading. Traditionally, it's called judging. It's not a bad translation. We think judge as only judicial. However, notice what it does say. She is sitting under the date palm tree of Deborah. The date palm tree is called the date palm tree of Deborah because this is where she resides. She has been here for such a long, prominent time. This is not an exception where she did it for a little while. She is here constantly. She is doing what she's supposed to be doing. And they named the place after her so that they can honor her because that is where she resides. Now, she is in Ephraim, so she's in Benjamite in the lower part, and the Barak will come from the northern part of Naphtali. So coming from the northern part of the kingdom all the way down to the southern part of the kingdom. Okay? She is that well known, and you'll see that when he shows up. What do we have here on the footnote? Or judgment, for judgment. The Israelites used to come up to her to have their disputes settled or to have judgments pronounced from her. So she is a prophetess. Okay, so she's a prophet. She is like Moses in a sense because that's what she's doing. Moses would settle the disputes. They would come to Moses and have their disputes settled. She is doing the same thing. She is declaring the truths of God to the people. There is nothing in this statement here. There's nothing in this passage that says Deborah's an exception. Don't worry about her. Ignore her. Just move on. No, it clearly is stating everything that she is doing is in line with what a prophet does. So she just happens to be female. That's what you see in the text. There's nothing that says she's an exception. We say she's an exception because we don't have 5 or 10 others. So that makes her an exception. The passage doesn't make her an exception. It also doesn't say she didn't have authority over men. She clearly does. She's settling their disputes. She is, she has way more authority over people than I've ever had in my life. As a pastor of a church, I've never had as much authority as Deborah has. They can just leave. I don't settle anybody's disputes. They're going to leave and go somewhere else. They're going to ignore me. I got no authority over them. Okay, so then we have Barak, who comes in, son of Binoam, from Kadesh in Naphtali. She said to him, "Is it not true that the God of Israel is commanding you, go march to Tabor, take 10,000 men?" So she already has given the message. Isn't it true? You already know the message. You're not going and doing what you've been told to do. Aren't you supposed to go and get 10,000 men? You've heard the message. Why aren't you going to go? And he says, well, I'll go if you go with me. He's already had the message. He's been ignoring the message. And now she summons him because he's ignored the message. And he says, I'll go if you go with me. And she says, you will indeed go, but you will not gain fame on this expedition, for God will turn Sisera over to a woman. We think, oh, he's not going to get fame on this because Deborah's there. Deborah's going to end up with the fame. No, it's not Deborah that ends up with the fame. Deborah already has her own fame. His fame is going to be robbed from him and it's going to go to Jael. Okay, Jael is the one who takes his. Jael is the exception. Deborah is not. We take this passage, this phrase, and we try to put it back on Deborah. I see nothing in here that says Deborah's an exception. And by the way, Jael is pretty badass. I'm just going to say it. Jael's, yeah. An exception of what? Exception in leadership. There are people who will read this passage and they'll just say, no, women can never be leaders in the church. And then people will point out Deborah and they'll go, oh, that's an exception. Deborah's an exception, and we can't apply Deborah to let women be in leadership. So that's what I'm addressing, Jim Bim. MC, you have pings from Twitch from Charles Stream, but not everyone else. Maybe it's got something to do with the belly thing for notifications. I'm going to change it and see what the ping. Oh, okay. Interesting. So Deborah goes up. We have the whole battle here. The army is defeated. The king is running for his life. Sisera is on the run. Yeah, that's you just want to make sure that's what I was referencing. Yeah. So he's on the run. He springs into action, and we have this little side story of, this one tribe that's related to Moses' father-in-law, who Moses' father-in-law worships God, follows God. So the family of him is potentially also going to do that. Jael appears to potentially do that, even though she's aligned with Moab, which is Lot's son's kingdom, one of them. So he is running away. He ends up in Jael. And because King Jabin of Hazor and the family of Heber, the Kenite, had made a peace treaty. So he's at peace. He finds, how does God have him go here? This is just awesome. Fleeing for his life, coming in here. She comes into the tent. She invites him in. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of me. Don't be, it's just so funny. Invites him in. Don't be afraid. So he stops in there to rest. I thought traditionally this said a carpet over him. A blanket makes more sense on some level. He asks for water, and she goes above and beyond with hospitality. She not only gives him water, she gives him milk, gives him goat milk to drink. She is treating him with honor and respect. She is taking his fear level farther down, making him comfortable, and then so comfortable he invites her to stand watch and say, if someone comes and asks if there's a man here, say no. Now, I'm assuming that she agrees. Yeah, I can do that. But he is so exhausted. He is covered up. She takes a tent peg and drives it through his head with a hammer. Probably the only weapon she has. So she doesn't have weapons. She knows how to swing a hammer and to pitch a tent. So she, like I said, this is just so, love the story. These are two of my favorite stories. We had Ehud, and now we have Jael. These are, I should have done this. I should have named my kids, Ehud and Jael. We'll look up Jael's name in just a minute. Drives a tent peg through his head while he was asleep from exhaustion. And then Barak shows up, and she invites him in, and she shows him what happened. And that day, God humiliated King Jabin of Canaan before the Israelites. Israel's power continued. King Jabin of Canaan until they were away from him. So not only that, because of her actions, now King Jabin is also going to be thwarted as well. Yeah, Jim Bim, don't be afraid. I'm going to kill you. Flutters eyelashes. Yeah. Come in. I don't bite. I jam steaks. I like that, Omega. I was thinking the same thing. Come in. I don't bite. I put it to always now, so hopefully the notifications will save your streak. Yeah. There you go. There we have it. There we have it. But we're not done with Deborah. We get to the next chapter. Will be the song of Deborah and Barak. But let's go look up some names here. Okay, so we'll look up what Barak means. She didn't have to lie about telling if asked. No. Now we need to find Jael down here at the bottom. There we go. Jael. I wish I would remember what her name means, because I go look these up and I don't always remember. So Barak, lightning or lightning flash, I remember that. So we had another person whose name was lightning in the previous or in a former story.
Barak. Barak.
Jael. Oh, that's right. It's mountain goat. Mountain goat. And so the mountain goat gives him goat's milk. And the mountain goat shoves a tent spike through his head. Dun, dun, dun. So she's just here, and she's in the next one. So how is it? Oh, wait. I'll get to that in a second. So let me do a swipe here, and then we'll get back into the text.